Hello friends, in this video we will understand what is meant by 4-bit parallel adder. So let us understand 4-bit adder. So far when it comes to adder, we have seen there are two types of circuit. One we have already seen, the half adder, and of course full adder. Now half adder had two inputs, that is A and B, and two outputs, that is sum and carry. As well as full adder, we have already seen that there were three inputs, that is A, B along with C, and outputs were two, that is sum and carry. Why third input is given for full adder? That is nothing but a carry generated by previous stage. So full adder take care of carry generated by the previous stage. So my question is, what do you think? What is the size of half adder? I mean size in terms of bit, whether it is 1 bit, 2 bit or 3 bit. Generally, whenever I ask the students half adder, they say that, sir, there are two inputs, that is A and B, so it is 2-bit adder. Then this is wrong. See, when it is adding two numbers, yes, ultimate aim is to add two numbers, that is A and B. My question is, what is the size of A? Size of A is 1 bit and size of B is also 1 bit. Then it is 1-bit adder, right? So half adder is basically 1-bit adder. Please never forget that. Where size of A is 1 bit, size of B is 1 bit, and the size of sum is also 1 bit, right? When it comes to full adder, this is also 1-bit adder. Reason, even though there are three inputs which are A, B and C, the size of A, B as well as C is individually 1 bit. Not only that, the sum is also 1 bit. In that case, we say full adder is also a 1-bit adder. So what we are learning is 4-bit parallel adder here. To understand 4-bit parallel adder, first of all, we should understand that since it is 4-bit, it means size of A and size of B along with size of sum will be 4-bit in size. That is, A will be considered as A3, A2, A1, A0, which is 4-bit. So size of A is 4-bit. Even B will be B3, B2, B1, B0. Of course, this is also 4-bit. And of course, the sum it will give, which will be also 4-bit in size, that is S3, S2, S1 and S0. This is also 4-bit in size. So let's see how the addition really takes place. In this case, A is A3, A2, A1, A0. This gets added with number B, which is B3, B2, B1, B0. So now it is quite clear that these numbers are A and B. So there is no need to specify A and B anymore. Let's see what happens after addition. Of course, whenever the addition takes place, we always start with LSB side. Therefore, A0 and B0 after addition gives you sum 0. It doesn't only give you sum, it gives you carry out also. Therefore, assuming that after adding A0, B0, there might be some carry, let's say C1. This C1 will hold value as 0 or 1. Irrespective of that, it is going to generate some carry, right? So we have to show them in general. Next time, the addition takes place as A1, B1 and C1. Therefore, sum is S1 and it gives you carry as, let's say, C2. So the next stage addition is A2, B2 along with C2, which gives you sum as S2 and carry out as C3. And thereafter again A3, B3 and C3 gets added, and of course sum is S3 and the carry is C4. Therefore, I can consider now C4 as a final carry and S3, S2, S1, S0 as a final sum. So remember, C4 is a final carry and this S3, S2, S1, S0 is final 4-bit sum. Am I right? Next, size of A is 4-bit, size of B is also 4-bit and the sum is 4-bit. Therefore, what we call this as adder as 4-bit adder. Tell me, for 1-bit addition, you require one full adder. So common sense, for 2-bit addition, we will require two full adders. And in order to get So for adding 4 bit, we require 4 full adders, right? Therefore, we need we require 4 full adders to do 4 bit addition. Now we will also see how this addition takes place. Before we proceed further, we need to talk about A0 B0 addition also. Since A0 B0 addition will be also done with full adder, therefore we should have some initial carry also, and let us assume that initial carry as C naught. So C naught, A naught, B naught upon addition generates sum as S naught and generates a carry called as C1. Is that right? But then initial value of C naught should be hold as 0. So if we draw a circuit, we will connect C naught value to ground. Let's see the circuit. As I said, there are 4 full adders here used. So first full adder will be taking care of A naught and B naught. So here we will provide input as A naught and B naught. Of course, C naught also, but then this C naught will be grounded because there is no initial carry. I mean, this is the first stage we are performing some addition. After addition, it will generate sum as S naught and it will generate carry as C1. Is that right? What was the next stage addition? If you remember, A1, B1 along with C1. Therefore, we provide input as A1, B1 along with C1 and then we get sum as S1. It doesn't only generate S1, that is sum 1, it generates carry also because every full adder has 2 outputs, sum and carry. So the carry generated by full adder number 2 will be C2. This time full adder number 3 will take care of A2, B2 and C2. After having addition of A2, B2 and C2 together, it generates sum as S2 and generates carry as C3. Then last full adder will take care of A3, B3 along with C3 and by adding them it will generate sum as S3 and C4. So now we are crystal clear about this that S3, S2, S1, S0 is final sum and C4 is a final carry. In the previous slide we have already seen the addition. Likewise, with the help of hardware also I have shown you the addition. Now to discuss more on this, you understand that every electronic circuit has its own limitation. Limitation, that is in terms I'm talking about a propagation delay. It means the moment you give input, you don't get output. It takes some time and that time is called as a propagation delay. So propagation delay means a time taken by a digital circuit to respond to inputs or to update the outputs or to settle down with the output, right? So here we are generating two things, that is sum as well as carry. Internally there would be a separate hardware for sum and separate hardware for carry. So assuming that to generate a sum it takes a time called as Ts. So Ts is a time, that is a propagation time to generate a sum, and Tc is a propagation time for generating a carry. So let us discuss a propagation delay for this 4-bit adder. A0, B0, A1, B1, A2, B2 and A3, B3 are inputs. All of them are applied at same time, that is at 0 time. But then after applying them you don't get output quickly. It takes some time and that time is called as a propagation time and we are interested to find that propagation time. Meanwhile, we have already assumed for generating the sum we require Ts time and for generating the carry we require Tc time. So let's see. Let's talk about full adder number 1. Tell me, what do you think? To generate S0 and C1, what are inputs required? Input required are A0, B0 and C0. Do you think that A0, B0 and C0 are applied at the same time? Answer is yes, of course. A and B input along with C0 input are applied at the same time. Therefore, to generate S0, it is going to take time called as Ts. Is that right? And at the same time, to generate carry number 1, it is going to take time called as a Tc time. Is that right? Now, we have understood for full adder 1. Let's talk about full adder number 2. Concentrate on the inputs of full adder 2. What are the inputs? A1, B1 along with C1. Once A1, B1 as well as C1 are applied, then only S1 will be generated. Am I right? I repeat. After applying A1, B1 along with C1, S1 will have a valid value. Am I right? It means, you know the fact for generating S1, Ts time is required. but at the same time, it cannot be generated until and unless C1 also appears. Therefore, as you can see, C1 is appeared after Tc time. Am I right? C1 is appeared after Tc time. After that, it is going to take Ts time to generate S1, and therefore, to generate S1, you require Ts plus Tc time. I'm sure you understood this. Now, let's talk about C2. Tell me, for every carry to generate, it takes Tc time. But understand, C2 will not be generated until and unless A1, B1 and C1, all of them are present. To talk about A1 and B1, A1 and B1 are applied at 0 time only. But what about C1? C1 has come after Tc time. C1 has come after Tc time. Thereafter, it starts working on A1, B1 and C1. Then, it takes its own Tc time to generate C2, and therefore, the effective delay is twice of Tc. So, twice of Tc is required to generate C2. So, Tc time for C2 itself and Tc time for waiting period of C1, right? Let's talk about S2. Now, to generate S2 or to generate any sum, it takes its own time, that is Ts time. But we should know the fact that S2 will be generated only after A2, B2 and C2 are applied. A2, B2 are applied at 0 time, but the waiting period of C2 is twice of Tc. Therefore, the total propagation time taken by S2 will be Ts, that is its own time to generate itself along with 2Tc. Is that right? Similarly, since C1 has taken time as Tc, C2 is taking twice of Tc. Similarly, C3 will take 3 times of Tc, because Tc is its own time period to generate itself after applying A2, B2 and C2, but C2 only comes after twice of Tc, right? Thereafter, A3, B3 are applied at 0 time, but C3 has come after 3 Tc time. Therefore, to generate S3, we require Ts plus 3 Tc. And what about C4? It is like that only. C1 takes Tc, C2 takes twice of Tc, C3 if takes 3 Tc, then C4 will take, of course, 4 times Tc. Am I right? So now we have to come to the conclusion. What is the exactly propagation time? So we will see. As we have already seen, to generate the sum, you have seen it takes Ts plus 3 Tc time. Is that right? For generating the carry, you have seen it takes 4 Tc time. So now the propagation delay would be a maximum of sum and carry delay. Therefore, we write a propagation delay time. I'm writing in short for PD. PD stands for propagation time, will be equal to maximum of Ts, Tc, where Ts is Ts plus 3 Tc and capital Tc is total time taken by carry. Therefore, propagation delay is equal to maximum of Ts plus 3 Tc, 4 Tc. Whichever maximum can be considered as propagation delay. Now that totally depends on what is the value of Ts and what is the value of Tc. So let's not comment which one is a maximum and which one is a minimum. I'm sure you understood this 4-bit adder, but at the same time, we should understand that in GATE examination, they will never concentrate on 4-bit adder. If let's say they ask you the question of propagation delay on 4-bit parallel adder, and suppose Ts and Tc data are given to you, you can calculate it very easily. But what if they ask you for 5-bit? What if they ask you for 6-bit? What if they ask you for 33-bit? Then what you're going to do? It means we must have some in generalized formula, that is in terms of n bit. In terms of n bit. Now concentrate carefully. Can you see the capital Ts value is Ts plus 3 Tc. Why this 3 has come? The 3 has come because it is a 4-bit adder. I repeat, 3 has come because it is a 4-bit adder. So for 5-bit, a 4 will come. For 6-bit, here 5 will come. Meaning that for n-bit, what figure will come in place of 3? It would be n minus 1. Am I right? Similarly, let's talk about this Tc time. That is capital Tc time. It is 4 times Tc. The reason why it is 4 times Tc, because it is a 4-bit adder. What if it is 5-bit adder? The time will be 5 Tc. What if it is 6-bit adder? The time will be 6 TC and so on. Moral of the story, for n bit it will be n times TC. Therefore, in general, for n bit parallel adder, we can write propagation delay is equal to maximum of Ts plus 3 will be replaced with n minus 1 times Tc, comma, n times Tc. So this is the maximum propagation delay for a n bit adder, right? Thank you.